Hello, everyone, and welcome to Body Bags. I'll be your reviewer for today. I'm Lonnie from Tats. I really want to just take one quick second and ask all of you to please forgive me. It's been a hectic day. I know I'm late getting my video out. Normally, I would get my video out a lot earlier, but just like I said, it's been a hectic day. I won't bore you with all the details. And, to show you how hectic it is, you'll know by the title of the video. The movie that I'm reviewing today is Umberto Lenzi's 1989 The Hitcher in the Dark. Now, originally, I was going to review another movie, but just like I said, things got messed up and I had to go with a different movie. So I hope you'll all forgive me. And especially, I'm pretty sure this movie has never been reviewed on the channel, but even if it has, I do apologize. Um, yeah, Hitcher in the Dark from Umberto Lenzi, the 1989, and uh, the one thing I think is funny though, of course, is when you watch the film, you know, of course it's a Filmirage production. Um, I can't help it. I always laugh because if you've ever seen the Riff Tracks version of Ghost House, at the very beginning when it says Filmirage, uh, Kevin Murphy says, filmy rage against the filmy machine. But anyway, so sorry, especially to Rob. Sorry, I know you don't like the riff track stuff and everything, but anyway, um, yeah, this movie is a very, very tense thriller, and it's a very good one too. One thing you'll definitely notice though is another thing that tickles me is the American pseudonym that Umberto Lenzi chose for himself. You know, uh, you know, I just think it's funny. His American pseudonym was it Humphrey Humbert. Out of all the American, I think like what was it? Who was it? Oh gosh, who was it who did Lewis Coates? Was it Fulci or was it Margariti? I don't remember. I always like some of these these American pseudonyms that these Italian directors would choose for themselves when they would market their movies to American audiences and stuff. I always thought it was funny, but the idea Humphrey Humbert. Okay, now the story for the film is an original story by Lenzi, and he directed the film. The film concerns a young man named Mark, and the who is the actor who played him? Joe. I can't. I'm sorry. It's very very small print. I can't read this. But anyway, so the actor who played him did an amazing job. He's very very creepy and sinister. So anyway, Joe is driving around. You can see he's got this Winnebago, and he just drives around everywhere. He's like always going up and down the highways and stuff. The movie takes place in Florida, and he's a young, handsome, good-looking guy. You wouldn't think anything of him, which makes it even more sinister. But it turns out that Joe is actually a serial killer, a killer of women primarily, because of course. This movie is, like I said, it's a very intense thriller, but it definitely is very much an exploitation movie. And he's traveling up and down the road and picking up gorgeous young women, and who are hitchhiking and stuff. I know people will be like, hitchhiking is like, man, I don't know. I don't think it was as big then as it was like years prior, like in the 60s or 70s. But I guess people still did some hitchhiking from time to time in the 80s. But he would go and pick up these beautiful young women who were hitchhiking, and then he would molest them, torture them, kill them, and then he would take pictures of them and then dispose of their bodies. Of course, being Florida, in the beginning scene, he picks up this beautiful blonde girl who her picture is actually on the back of the slipcover, but because of I can't really show it because YouTube would pitch fit, okay, but just trust me, it doesn't end well. He picks up this young girl and he kills her. He slits her throat and then disposes of her body. Taking it to, um, I don't want to say like a swamp, but takes where they're alligators and puts the body in the water and the alligators take care of it. So he continues on his way and he happens to stop in and he sees this young girl Daniela, played by Josie Bissett, who I believe this was one of her very first acting roles. She would then go on to be on her biggest role was she had a recurring role on the TV show Melrose Place. You know, you remember Melrose Place from the '90s. So that was her biggest role. But she, you know, looking her up, she'd been in a number of films and stuff. So she has a pretty extensive acting career. But you know, I remember when I started, I was like Josie Bissett. Why do I know that name? And so it took me a minute, and I had to look it up, and I was like, oh, okay, so yeah, all right, that's it, that's it. She was on Melrose Place. Okay, I knew that name sounded familiar. But anyway, so and you know, lovely, lovely girl. She's very gorgeous, you know, in this movie. Um, so anyway, he sees that Daniela is having a fight with her boyfriend Kevin, and so you know she stomps out, and so he decides he's going to try to track her and everything else, and so he gets into his Winnebago. He starts driving. He's able to catch up with her, and he asks her if she needs a ride, and so she accepts the ride and she gets in, and then he gives her a thermos, saying, you know, you want to drink a cola, and so she takes a drink out of it, and then of course it's laced with drugs, and so she passes out. And then she wakes up and he's got her chained inside the Winnebago. And, you know, he explains to her that he's going to keep her hostage because she reminds him of his mother. Definitely a Norman Bates kind of inspired thing going on here. And you know, of course, she's begging to be let out. You know, she just wants to go and everything. But he has no intentions of letting her go. And so it becomes a very taut thriller where you know she's trying to find ways where she can you know looking for a way to get out, you know, to get away from his clutches. And he's, you know, like I said, the guy is very disturbed, and at one point he decides to cut her hair short. You know, he drugs her, and while she's out, he cuts her hair short and everything, you know, to try to make her look as much like his mother as possible. He tries to dress her up like his mother. Definitely an Oedipus kind of thing going on here. Um, Apparently, Mark very much wanted to have a certain kind of relationship with his mother. He's, you know, one thing you'll know about the character Mark, he's very disturbed. And so, you know, while all this is going on, her boyfriend Kevin obviously is very, very upset. He's doing everything he can. He's trying to hunt down every lead to try to find her. He's talking with her mother, and you know they're both very, very. They're scared. They're concerned. They just want to bring her home, understandably. So you know, so Kevin is out there like, you know, he knows that you know she was picked up in the Winnebago, so he's going around. He's like checking different, you know, areas where Winnebagos are parked, you know, and everything, and trying to see if he can see if he can locate her and stuff. And then it becomes not really like a race against time or anything, but it does kind of feel that way that he needs to, you know, he really, really needs to like, you know, try to see because time does seem to be running out for Daniela. But even at one point, unfortunately, it kind of irritates you in a way because at one point, Daniela, she negotiates with Mark and saying, you know, if I spend your birthday with you tonight and everything else, and we do all this kind of stuff, you know, then you'll let me go in the morning, which of course he's not going to keep his end of the bargain. Um, at one point, he does, you know, like they're celebrating his birthday and everything. And so he asks, you know, if she's ever been with a man before. And when she says that, yes, she has, you know, this guy is very, very, I mean, this guy is very much like the, I don't want to say like the poster boyfriend incel, but I mean, this guy is just like, this guy's disgusting. You know, he's appalling. And the whole movie is like, you know, you're just like, you're so much waiting for this guy to get his comeuppance, and you're waiting like, is Kevin ever going to catch up with them? Is he going to, you know, be kind of her Prince Charming and save the day, be her knight in shining armor? Is it going to be one of those kind of movies where, you know, Daniela, you know, of course, you know, being in the 80s, this was, you know, time, you know, when movies always had the great final girls and stuff like that. So is Daniela going to end up having to save herself? You know, how is this all going to come about? And I'm not going to give away the ending or any spoilers or anything like that, but this movie, it's very hard to watch at times. You know, it definitely has it definitely harkens you back to watching very uncomfortable movies like Last House on the Left, things like that. But it is a good film. Lenzi does a really good job. He does create a lot of tension and suspense in this film. There are some bloody parts. It's not overly gory, but there are some pretty gruesome parts in it. I will say Josie Bissett, like I never watched Melrose Place, but honestly, she gives a really great and a very bold performance in this film. Um, there are moments in this movie where she is, you know, she does have to do nudity, and there are some particularly uncomfortable scenes in this movie, that would be uncomfortable for any actress to have to do, and I do applaud her work in this film. Um, but just overall, it really is a good movie, and I do urge you check it out if you get a chance. This is the Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray of the film, and it looks great. They did a wonderful job of restoring it. But you could definitely tell it is a Lenzi film, though. I mean, if you've watched a number of Lenzi's films, yeah, kind of Cannibal Ferox, but I mean, I'm talking more stuff like Ghost House, or you watch the movies he did for you watch the movies he did for like the House of Doom set or whatever. His movies definitely have a very distinct style, a visual style to it, and they have a distinct look to them and a feel. And then with the music score and everything else, so it definitely looks and feels very much in the vein of Lenzi's other films. And but it is a good film, and I highly recommend checking it out. Like I said, it is uncomfortable at times to watch, but it is very suspenseful. Good performances. The actor who plays Mark does a really good job, and he is really unsettling because it's like, dude, I mean, if you look at the guy, I mean, it's like you kind of wonder, like, why would this guy, it's like I said, it's you could tell his character is very, very much inspired by Norman Bates, because there is this, he's this handsome, good-looking guy, kind of the boy next door type. um, Dresses really well and all. I'm not like Patrick Bateman territory really, but definitely a Norman Bates vibe. Um, but and like I said, a guy who has a unhealthy obsession with his mother and everything. And but like I said, he does a great job, and he's particularly gruesome and creepy. He's a very horrible villain, and so I mean he does sell the part. Um, yeah. But I would say, check this movie out. And like I said, I think Josie Bissett deserves a lot of credit for her role in this movie. Like I said, there are moments in this movie that is particularly very unsettling and very hard to watch. And, it's like for any actress to have to do these things in a movie, it's not, it can never be easy for that. But yeah, so I would definitely say if you get a chance, and you're into Italian cinema and stuff. If you haven't checked it out, I definitely say give Hitcher in the Dark, give it a chance. And just real quick before we end the video, I'll show you. Like here you go, and you got the cool, different different artwork and stuff. So, but anyway, so yeah, I would definitely say give it a shot. Check out Hitcher in the Dark. So that's it. So if anybody took the time to watch this, I thank you for doing it. I appreciate you for doing it. Again, I apologize that yeah, it's just been kind of a screwy day. But yeah, if you liked the video, could you please leave a like, and if you haven't already, go and subscribe to the Body Bags channel. And that's it, everybody. Take care. Have a good night, everyone. I'll see y'all later.